Good boy, Tucker.
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome.
Hey.
Welcome.
Work smarter where you want.
Consistency is key.
And remember, if it's not in Redtail, it never happened.
This is learning at its most fun.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us in part 3 of our workflow series. Today, we are talking all about applying workflows. We did all that front end work with whiteboarding the workflow and building it into our system. Now we get to the fun part where we actually see the fruits of our labor and we apply the workflow. So to get started, we're going to go ahead and go right into the CRM. And we did build out 3 different workflows that we will apply. Now, I'm going to show you 3 different ways that you can apply these workflows. But before we go in and apply them, we need to go back to the templates and make them active, because we still left those templates under construction because we were still working on them. We didn't want somebody to take a half-finished workflow and apply it to a contact. So we left those guys under construction, but now that they're all finished and ready to use, we're going to change those over to active. So to start off, I'm going to click on my name in the top right-hand corner and go to manage your account. So click on your name and go to manage your account. And then within the manage templates box, you do have your workflow templates located here. And we have our 3 lovely workflows that we've made throughout this series located here. But like I said, you'll notice that the status is still listed as under construction. So if somebody were to click on the plus sign, choose to add in a workflow and choose one from the template, those 3 aren't even available because they're still under construction. So that's the first step we're going to do. We're going to click on this action icon in the top left-hand corner of each box, and we're going to select edit. And then for the status here on the right-hand side, we're going to change it from under construction to active. So the first one is now ready to use, but we'll do it for number 2 as well. We'll click on that action icon. We'll select on edit. And then we'll go down over to status and move that to active. We'll update that template. And one last time, we'll click on that action icon, click edit, and then move that status from under construction to active. Now we're going to add these workflows in this order. And like I said, I'll show you 3 different ways that you can apply these workflows to a contact. So let's start off with applying our important information workflow. So typically this is a great workflow when you have someone new that you just added to the system and you want to make sure you have all of these items for that person. So I'll click on the recently viewed icon there and I'll select on Mia here. And we don't really have a lot of information on Mia right now, so might as well apply that workflow, assign out those responsibilities to our team to get that info, and then we can say that we successfully added everything for Mia. So the most suggested way, and in my opinion, the best way to add a workflow is to first go to the contact record. Always be in the habit, guys, of going to the contact record first before you add something, because then you can get a holistic view of this client. You can see if there's any outstanding items. You can talk about the weather in their home location. You can talk about their family members. But going to their record is really the place you want to start when you're adding anything new to a client. So if we go to Mia's record first, and then we click on the plus sign in the top right-hand corner, we can choose to add anything new. And in this sample, we're choosing to add in a new workflow. So we went to Mia's record, we clicked on the plus sign in the top right-hand corner, and then we're choosing workflows. And now if I select on the workflow template, I can go ahead and choose that template that we created. Now those are available to me because I changed them from under construction to active. So the first one we're going to apply here is that important information workflow. And we can go ahead and set the target date as today. And we'll go ahead and create this workflow. And now you'll notice it's automatically assigned to Mia. I didn't go in and type Mia's name into that workflow contact name box. Because I was on Mia's record and I chose to add something using that plus sign, it automatically attached Mia's name, which is why it's my favorite way to add in a workflow, because you don't have to do that extra step of applying it to a contact by typing in their name. So go to the contact record first, click on that plus sign in the top right hand corner, go down to workflows, and then choose your template there. So now you'll notice we have this template successfully applied. We have all of the assignments and the due dates listed here, and it is applied to Mia. So that is the most suggested way, the easiest way to go ahead and get it done. If we want to start with the second one, we can do that from another direction. Let's say we're on the today page or we're on the reports page, let's say, and we get that really quick phone call about we need to onboard a prospect. So we don't have to actually move anywhere from the screen. If I'm on this report screen, or if I'm on any screen for that matter, this menu will be locked up here at the top. So I can choose to click on the quick add icon from any page and choose to add in a workflow. So this is the second way you can add in a workflow, apply a workflow, is by just clicking on that plus sign, going down to workflows, but this requires an additional step. For this method, you do have to direct your attention over here to the contact name box. You'll notice the contact name box is empty. Make sure that we go ahead and we type in the contact's name here, so that way it's successfully applied to the contact. And I like to type out just a few letters there and then allow it to search the database for a match. That way it'll go ahead and look in your database, see if there's anyone that matches this contact name, and then you can go from there. But remember, even if you're on the contacts page, you're on the calendar page, opportunities, seminars, any of these pages, you could always click on that quick add, go down to workflows, and then choose to add in a workflow this way. So we'll go ahead and attach this to Doug. Doug is our prospect. So we want to go ahead and onboard this prospect. So we'll go ahead and choose the second workflow that we created. It's the client onboarding workflow. So we're going to change Doug from being a client or a prospect to a client. Once we go through this workflow process, we would do that successfully. So you can click on that plus sign in the top right-hand corner on any page in the CRM, but just remember, you always have to click in the contact name box, type in a name, and get that successfully attached. So this does require that additional step to have that proper linkage, but nonetheless, it is a different way for you to go ahead and do that action. And you'll notice that we didn't set a target date in that example. The target date was automatically set. So now all of these to-do items are due today. All of these people that have these assignments have received email notifications saying that there is something on their plate to complete. And then once we complete all of these items in the first step, it'll move on to number 2 and shoot out these assignments to the team and the users. All right. And then the third and final workflow that we have to work with is going to be about a client meeting. So maybe you're hosting with your clients annually, biannually, whatever you're doing. The client meeting is an excellent workflow to have built out. And the last and final way that I want to show you how to add in a workflow is through the workflows page. So if you click on workflow, you can click new workflow in the top right hand corner and then choose the one from the template. So we want to go ahead and choose that client meeting workflow, and then we could rename it if we want. But this also requires that additional step. Everyone, make sure you attach it to a client using this box. If you don't do that, then it's just going to be a free floating workflow that's not attached to any name in particular. So you definitely want to make sure that you're in the habit of my suggestion is just to go to the contact record and add workflows. But if you're just adding them from any page, be in the habit of clicking on this box and typing in your contact's name. So if we are due to have a review with one of our clients, we can go to reports on the left here and check out our reminder reports to see our client reviews. And it looks like we're due for a review here with Alan. So we can go ahead and choose to add it for Alan. So we'll go to workflows, click new workflow, choose the template, and then we'll type in Alan's name. All right, so I went ahead and chose Alan there. Remember, you can always rename, say, Alan's review workflow. But the category was maintained from the template. We chose that the category would fall under client meeting notes, so that has been saved successfully. Now, the difference with this method, you'll notice that when I chose to create that new workflow, it still just stayed on this page. The page just refreshed. So you will have to find it here, that workflow that you just created. When you click on that workflow, it'll go ahead and have that linked contact that we typed in. So now we have all of our workflows arranged. We took 3 workflows that we created throughout the series and we applied them in 3 different ways. Now, if you want to know the best way, like I said, it is going to that contact records page first, choosing that plus sign, and then choosing to create a new template. That way you don't have to type in the person's name. It's already locked in that box automatically. But now that we applied these workflows successfully, now we kind of want to think, where can we see these workflows that have now been assigned? So the first place you're going to see workflows that have been assigned is on your front page news of what's going on for you in the office today. It's your today page. So if you click on the today page, you will have a box here for workflow tasks to do today. So because we took those 3 workflows and we attached them out to clients, we have 13 to-do items that are assigned to my username. So my username is Tucker McLaughlin. So I have these 13 items to complete. And remember, you could complete these in any order. If we know we already have the tax ID, I could complete that before I get the address, the phone numbers, and the date of birth. But all of them just need to be captured before we can say that we've completed this workflow successfully. So this is the first place that you're going to see your workflows, is on the today page. But another best practice here, guys, is to use your active workflow task tab that's located on today. As a best practice, what I'm suggesting for you to do is right click on this workflow task tab and open it in a new tab. So right click and select open link and new tab. And personally, I suggest to always have a tab open of your workflow tasks. So that way you can toggle between the pages, you can toggle over to this page, see your to-do items that are assigned out to your username, and see if there's anything you dropped the ball on. Maybe you didn't get to these that were due last week. You can see if there's anything that you can jump ahead on that isn't due yet, but sometime in the future. So I personally like to always have this page open in a new tab and just work out of this. If we go ahead and run the plan report for Carol, we could just complete it right from this page, and it just shoots off of this list. So this is essentially a to-do list of your workflow tasks. Always try to be in the habit of having this tab open and working from this. Now, another place that you're going to see workflow tasks is going to be your calendar. So if we go to the calendar on the left-hand side, you want to make sure that under actions, you have it set to show workflow tasks. So right now it says hide workflow tasks because I already have them being shown. But if you don't have them being shown yet, it's going to say show workflow tasks. And you're going to want to make sure you click on that button so that way those workflow tasks will appear. And our workflow tasks are listed here in black in the all day section. So right now I'm looking at every single person's calendar. I can isolate this list to just show me. But what we're going to see are all of our workflow tasks that are assigned to me on the calendar. So if you're a calendar person, no worries. You can see those to-do items that are assigned out to you on your calendar page. So the first place you can see them is on the today page, your workflow tasks to do today. Your second and most suggested way to see them is using this active workflow task tab. You can see an ordered list here that you can even choose a column and order it if you choose. The third place will be here on your calendar, listed in the all day section. And then, of course, you could always go to workflows on the left-hand side and see anything that's live right now, in session right now. And please don't forget about the reports. There are workflow reports. If you click on reports on the left and you go down to workflow reports, you have either a workflow report that just shows kind of like the workflow page where it just shows live active workflows in action right now. Or my favorite one of the reports is the workflow task report. You can see all of those individual to-do items that are assigned out in the database right now. So right now, these are all of the to-do items assigned out to everyone. This is great to manage the workflows that are out. Maybe you see the client service team has just a bunch of items or things that are past due. You can speak with them specifically about it and try to get them moving on some of those. And you also have a filter in the top right-hand corner, so you can isolate it by a specific contact. Maybe you just wanted to see all of the workflow items for Alan. You can choose that specific contact and it'll show just Alan's to-do items. You can isolate it by workflow template, category, or even user or team. So if we just wanted to see the items assigned out to the client service team, we can choose them from the list, apply the filter, and now it just shows us the list of items here assigned out to them. So we went ahead and learned how to apply the workflow onto the contact records. We also learned where they're going to show up around the system. The next step is to actually use the workflow, which honestly is one of the most important steps you can do. A lot of the times we invest a lot of time into these workflows and then you just let it sit there. So everyone has that buy-in from whiteboarding out the process. So now let's go ahead and jump in and start using the workflow and holding each other accountable for each part of the process. So we went ahead and added the workflow for the client review meeting onto Alan Matthews. So on my today page, I have to do this to-do item. I need to go ahead and call Alan and confirm the meeting. The meeting is to be held tomorrow, so I want to go ahead and confirm that meeting one day before. So right now I can go ahead and go to the contact record for Alan. I can click on the Rolodex icon here in the top right-hand corner and give Alan a quick phone call reminding him of the date and time of this meeting. Now, regardless of what the outcome is of that call, maybe Alan confirms the meeting or maybe he wants to reschedule. Regardless of what the scenario is, I still want to hit complete because no matter what Alan says, I still did my job to go ahead and call Alan to confirm the meeting. So now I just need to choose what the outcome was. So either Alan could cancel. Maybe we're meeting with Alan quarterly and he's like, you know what, guys, I just don't want to meet at all this quarter. And we would just complete the workflow altogether. Maybe he can go ahead and reschedule. Maybe his in-laws are in town and he didn't really get a heads up in time to let us know to change the meeting date. So he might want to reschedule. Or we can move on to the next step. If it's confirmed successfully, we can go ahead and choose that there. So you do have those different scenarios. That's why outcomes are amazing to go ahead and move you to different directions in the workflow. Sometimes we don't live in this perfect world where we call and the meeting is confirmed. So it's really nice to have those outcomes baked into the process. But for this situation, we're going to go ahead and say we called Alan to confirm the meeting. He's very excited, we'll say, to meet with the team. He's never been to the office and would like a tour to start. So we'll go ahead and put in that information, whatever the outcome was. You know, the more information you put here, the more valuable your workflow will be, the more informed your team will be. So consider dedicating some extra time here to go ahead and type something out, and you can even use some plain text here where you can bold some items, make some items larger, whatever you prefer, you can do that here. But if we complete the step and we go back to the workflow, we can go ahead and see that it's progressed on to the next step. So we went ahead and prepared for the meeting. We confirmed the meeting. You'll notice there's a step note that's automatically date, time, and user stamped here. That has to do with that information that we receive. And now we have the to-do items to complete for the follow-up. Now remember, these to-do items can be completed in any order. So if we want to go ahead and complete the follow-up call before we add the client meeting notes or make and record adjustments, feel free to do that. The whole point here is just to make sure all of the things get done before we move on, but the tasks don't need to be done in any order. But if you do have, you know, kind of a preference to see something on the CRM and complete it in that same order, go ahead and use these arrows, and you could move things up and down and see what you want to look at. So we went ahead and made that follow-up call. We can go ahead and make and record the adjustment, and we can say that we've added the client meeting notes. And once you go ahead and complete that step, it'll ask you if everything was done in good order or if we are just complete. So we went ahead and completed this workflow. We'll go ahead and say how the meeting went. All right, so we went ahead and typed as many details as possible here. We typed that he was very happy with the meeting. It went great. He was really happy with looking at the office and getting the tour. He is preferring that these meetings happen quarterly, and the next time he would want to discuss an inheritance he's receiving and would like some sample plans. So we'll go ahead and complete that step with all of that information saved within the workflow. And now the workflow is complete. So you have the step notes here where anyone can refer to these step notes to see exactly what happened with this meeting. And we have all of those steps and tasks completed as well. So you can even see for this last one for meeting follow-up, it was due on 4/23, but we completed on 4/19. So technically you can see that, we're ahead of schedule there. We went ahead and got things done sooner than we would have expected. So we can go ahead and look at how a workflow kind of works once a workflow has been completed. So this workflow is 100% complete. And now we want to look into what exactly happens when a workflow is completed. So if we go to notes on the left-hand side, we can go ahead and change this to not just show the notes, but to show all types of notes. And you're going to notice that we do have this workflow that's been completed. So it's very, very important to remember that once you complete a workflow, it gets date, time, and user stamped and saved as a note for history. So now whenever you want to go ahead and refer back to this workflow, you can do that by going to the contact notes and pulling up that workflow. So we can pull that up here, access those step notes, and get a rundown on exactly what happened with our last meeting. So we can use this in preparation for the next meeting and scheduling the next meeting as well. So definitely keep that in mind, that all of the workflows, when they're completed, get saved as notes for history. So we can go ahead and change this category as well, change it from general information to that client review note. So that way, maybe we want to run a report one day to pull up all those client review notes. We can do that using the reporting features as well. But otherwise, that is going to be how you actually go through and mark tasks as complete, how you can add step notes, and where you can see those completed workflows in the contact notes. Now remember, we showed you how to complete a workflow task from the Today page, but remember, if you're on your active workflow task list, you could always complete items right from this page as well. If it is the last item to complete in the workflow, then it's going to go ahead and provide you with the outcome for you to go ahead and fill out that step note. So remember, even if it's something as simple as information gathered successfully, put that in here as the step note, just so everyone is on the same page and you're adding extra value to that workflow. And in addition, if you go to your calendar, since those workflow tasks do show up on your calendar, you can always click on them and they will take you into the workflow where you can begin to complete items as well.
Thanks so much for joining us today for this particular session. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to give us a call at 800-206-5030, option 3 for support, or just shoot us an email over to support@redtailtechnology.com. Thanks a lot and have a great day.